Okay, thanks very much. Yeah, so I'm going to jump right into like 4 questions. And the first one I think may end up feel at first like a tangent to many of you, but the first question that I have is, can crop breeding continue to increase water productivity in terms of crop yield and crop value per unit of water? I think it's not fully understood that a large share, in fact I'd say by far the majority of increased water productivity over the past few decades has come from improved crop varieties that increase the amount of usable plant biomass per unit of water. They haven't come through improved water management in general. And that happens by, for example, the semi-dwarf varieties of rice and wheat, which greatly increase the amount of usable plant matter in terms of grain for food compared to previous varieties. That immensely increased the productivity of water for any given use, any given amount of water. There's also significant potential now for more effective and efficient transpiration of water through plants. That's going to require a lot more breeding. A lot of irrigation people don't think this is possible. They think it's run out. But I think, talking to scientists and breeders, there's still considerable potential. It is likely to have to have an increased diversity of genes and to use biotechnology to get the kinds of yields per unit of water that we want. So if GMOs are off the table, gene editing has to come in, and how that is regulated is going to be very important in answering that question. A second question that maybe is, can advanced irrigation technologies actually reduce water use? Does it conserve water? If we look at things like drip and sprinkler irrigation and enhanced water harvesting, precision farming that tries to optimize water at the field level, does that actually save water in general? It certainly tends to help the individual farmer who's adopting it, particularly the early adopters, to increase their income efficiency. But water within a river basin, which is where most of this is being done, is interconnected. The runoff from one water user to another is available. Water from one water user is available to other water users in the basin downstream. So socially, new irrigation technology management can have a number of different outcomes. The first one, which we all want to have happen, is that it saves water that would otherwise evaporate unproductively or flow to sinks in deep groundwater or polluted groundwater, and therefore by making those savings would significantly increase net system benefits. But also can divert water that would otherwise just be used downstream. So it takes water from one farmer to the upstream farmer, so they make more money, but there's no reduction in water use. And there's evidence in some areas that actually increases water use by increasing the profitability of irrigation for individual farmers rather than saving water. So real water savings are a lot more difficult than a lot of the rhetoric seems to claim. And to achieve the benefits, which I do think could be substantial of these new technologies and farming systems, needs appropriate water allocation systems. And Claudia certainly spoke about these. In particular, in my opinion, it's going to need well-specified water rights and water allocations in farms and river basin. And that leads to my next question is, will secure water rights and water trading ever be implemented on a useful scale to actually accomplish the transformation of water management that we need? And that goes back to the economic incentives that Claudia broke up. Water rights should be the cornerstone of efficient and equitable water management. They empower the irrigators who then cannot have water so easily appropriated as it is now. They provide incentives for investment in more efficient technology, and making water rights tradable kicks it up another notch to generate the kinds of additional incentives to optimize economic value, not only at the farm level, but throughout the basin. The question is, why has this been so difficult? There's a lot of arguments that it's very costly to monitor water use at the level needed. I think those arguments are going out the door with the advanced information technology, new small-scale sensors and so forth. And I think it's really, a lot of it has to do with long-standing management practices, and frankly with political rent-seeking, where the managers, the top-down managers of water, prefer existing kinds of systems because they control where the water goes with potentials for income and payoffs in the process. So getting past that political economy is going to be very difficult. Another just final question is, again, another big political economy question really is, can water and other related subsidies ever be reduced to the extent they are. I think we all know water subsidies, energy and fertilizer subsidies combine sort of in an unholy trinity to result in great overuse of water, energy, and fertilizer, increase greenhouse gas emissions substantially because of that overuse. They cause environmental damage, and I think that it isn't recognized as much as they crowd out public investments. In many important developing countries, the subsidy bill to the government is far in excess to the amount of productive investment in rural infrastructure, irrigation, and other capital on an annual basis. So it's holding back productivity as well as costing along the way. They tend to be popular because it's a way to get funding out to farmers, though actually a lot of that doesn't go to farmers, it goes to the fertilizer producers, into water intermediaries as well. So by reducing and removing input subsidies, you can both generate enough savings that you could give direct, non-distorting income support to farmers to move them through that temporary loss of subsidies, plus also provide the investment in productive fields such as agriculture, research, and development, roads, et cetera. But whether that will happen, it remains a big question.